Hi guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be doing the top 10 best horror films of 1996. It was a fun year for horror with lots of variety. We got some cheeseball classics. We got some werewolves, witches, and vampires. We got a very solid top 3. And we got an absolute classic in the number 1 spot. Good times. In 1996, I was 10 years old, and I remember renting all these films and loving the experience. Now time for the list. So sit back, relax, and let the show begin. Number 10 is Pinocchio's Revenge. Directed by Kevin S. Tenney, who also directed one of my favorites in Night of the Demons. Pinocchio's Revenge, however, is pretty awful. I can't recommend it nowadays, but it is one that I used to watch a lot when I was a kid, so there is some nostalgia here at play. It was between this film or The Dentist for the 10th spot. Both films have a low-budget TV quality to them, but there is one notable about Pinocchio's Revenge. Pinocchio is played by Vern Troyer. You probably know him best from Austin Powers in his mini role. Like I said, I can't really recommend it, but if you want to give it a watch, the full movie is on YouTube. Number 9 is The Stendhal Syndrome. Written and directed by Dario Argento and starring his daughter Asia Argento. Dario tried to cast Bridget Fonda or Jennifer Jason Leigh in the lead, but when that fell through, he gave the role to his daughter. This film is a pretty trippy experience. Some scenes are hard to watch, but it's a well-crafted film. It's kind of a rape revenge type of film with a twist. The music by Ennio Morricone is excellent. It's very eerie and sets the mood perfectly. This is one of Dario's best films of the 90s. Very underrated. Number 8 is Mary Riley. Directed by Stephen Frears. It was almost directed by Tim Burton, but he ended up dropping out because he didn't like how his previous film, Ed Wood, was handled. Mary Riley is a solid underrated film. Not too many people bring this one up anymore. It's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type of film. It's got a great cast with John Malkovich and Julia Roberts leading the way, although there was reports that they didn't get along during filming. Julia Roberts was paid a whopping $10 million for her role. I still enjoy revisiting this one from time to time. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. Number 7 is Bad Moon. Directed by Eric Red. This is a very underrated werewolf movie. When we think werewolves, most of us immediately think about An American Werewolf in London, Silver Bullet, or The Howling. But Bad Moon definitely deserves to be mentioned. It's a fun film. I love the opening scene where the main actor, played by Michael Paré, and his girlfriend are attacked by a werewolf. It's brutal. Michael Paré is a very underrated actor. I also like the secluded countryside locations around this film. The rest of the film has its ups and downs, but overall, I really like this movie. Number 6 is The Craft. Directed by Andrew Fleming. I've always loved this film. I find it to be extremely entertaining. It's got a fun young cast starring Robin Tooney, Fairuza Balk, Nev Campbell, and Skeet Ulrich. Nev Campbell and Skeet Ulrich would go on to star in The Scream this same year. The craft deals with witchcraft and invoking spirits, that type of thing. I like the setting in Los Angeles, and all the locations are top-notch. I also like the soundtrack. It's a fun one, especially that song by the Smiths. I am human and I need to be loved. The Craft still holds up great today. Number 5 is Thinner. Directed by Tom Holland, who also directed some of my favorites, Child's Play, Fright Night, and The Langoliers. He also wrote Psycho 2. Tom Holland was an absolute gem in the 80s and 90s. Thinner is a solid 90s horror film based on the book by Stephen King. It's an excellent story about an overweight attorney played by Robert John Burke, who's cursed after accidentally hitting and killing one of the gypsies with his car. No matter how much he eats, he just keeps losing weight. His transformation is remarkable. Thinner is a fun little film. Number 4 is Tales from the Crypt's Bordello of Blood. Directed by Gil Adler, the Tales from the Crypt TV show is my favorite show of all time. I love that they followed up the show with 2 kick-ass movies. The first being Demon Knight, which is the better of the 2 films, but still Bordello of Blood is so much fun. There was supposed to be a 3rd film, but after this one failed at the box office, those plans got scrapped. I love the cast. It stars Dennis Miller, Chris Sarandon, Corey Feldman, Angie Everhart, to name a few. I don't know what it is about Dennis Miller, but I've always found him to be absolutely hilarious. It was reported that the cast and crew didn't really get along with Miller. He probably didn't take the movie seriously, but he still gives a great performance. Bordello of Blood is a blast. Number 3 is From Dusk Till Dawn. Directed by Robert Rodriguez and written by Tarantino, who also stars in the film. Originally, Tarantino was going to direct, but he decided to concentrate more on his acting. So he gave the film to his good friend Robert Rodriguez to direct instead. Tarantino met with John Travolta for the lead role, which ultimately went to George Clooney, but that meeting with Travolta led to Tarantino hiring him for Pulp Fiction instead. From Dusk Till Dawn is always a fun time. The entire cast are extremely entertaining. Tarantino and Rodriguez are big fans of John Carpenter, and you'll notice that Harvey Keitel's son is wearing a Precinct 13 shirt. That's a nod to Carpenter's assault on Precinct 13. I'm sure you've already seen this film, but if you haven't, you definitely need to check this one out. Number 2 is Frighteners. Directed by Peter Jackson, this is such a fun film. It feels like a 2-hour episode of Tales from the Crypt. Michael J. Fox is fantastic in the film. It was after this movie that Fox decided to stop making films and do TV instead, spend more time with his family. The music is awesome. Danny Elfman is one of the best music composers of all time. I also love the filming locations in New Zealand and the overall mood the film provides. The special effects are top-notch. I usually don't like a lot of CGI, but in this film, it's done properly. Overall, Frighteners is such a great film, and it's even better if you watch it around Halloween. Number 1 is Scream. Directed by Wes Craven. I love Wes Craven movies, especially A Nightmare on Elm Street, People Under the Stairs, and Shocker. But this film, this is the one that catapulted Wes Craven to the top of the horror genre, right alongside John Carpenter. Kevin Williamson, the writer of Scream, has stated that Carpenter's Halloween is his favorite film of all time. So it was nice to see Carpenter get some respect for once. In many ways, Scream is a love letter to Carpenter's Halloween, and part of me wished that John Carpenter directed Scream, but Wes Craven, who's good friends with Carpenter, did an amazing job, and Scream will always be remembered as an all-time classic. Anyway, so that's the list, guys. Let me know what you think. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Get it, bitch! Some damn enchiladas!
The Daigler.